Welcome to the Gospel Liberty Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another episode. It is late October, and that means that there is a big holiday coming up that we love, Reformation Day, right?
Yes.
October 31st, one of our favorite days of the year. We're going to talk in this episode about Halloween, Reformation Day, and what we think, how we've tried to apply the scriptures and apply the gospel, the implications of the gospel to these 2 days specifically. And we just want to say in the front end, don't cancel us, right? I mean, this is obviously a very controversial subject. Folks have a lot of different viewpoints on how Christians should handle Halloween, how they should think about it, how they should practice it, what the origins are. And we have our views of what we think is historical, of what we think is biblical, how we've tried to teach our children. So we want to share that with you for your consideration. Mm-hmm. Once again, we need to learn how to continue to love people even though they may disagree with us. So a lot of people might have different viewpoints, and if you have a different viewpoint and you're practicing what you practice to the glory of God, there's certainly a lot of freedom in how Christians can relate to these American-made holidays or certain Western holidays. Of course, how it looks today in America is quite new, or in the last 70, 80 years. So
well, and to go back to what you said, we love Reformation Day. Right.
Correct.
I mean, you didn't say, oh, we just absolutely love Halloween. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think that's, again, we'll get into it more, but I think that's just to remind our listeners, we love Reformation Day.
Yes, exactly. We absolutely love it. So let's talk first about Reformation Day and why we love Reformation Day. Last year, I did a podcast with Pastor Martin Medina on the Protestant Reformation that you can go back and listen to if you're interested. But Reformation Day, October 31st, 1517, is the day that Martin Luther posted the 95 Theses against the selling of indulgences to the door of the Wittenberg Chapel in Wittenberg, Germany. Mm-hmm. And he did it on October 31st, actually, because it was All Saints' Day Eve. Mm-hmm. It was Halloween, All Hallows Eve, yes. Exactly. So he posted before this big day that was a holiday, a huge holiday at that time that the Western Church celebrated, All Hallows Eve, or All Saints' Day on November 1st. Mm-hmm. And that is kind of, the unofficial start of the Protestant Reformation. And what we do, we mark the day. We have we do Huguenot toast in the morning. The French Calvinists were the Huguenots. And, instead of French toast, we do Huguenot toast. And
it's the same recipe.
It's the same thing, exactly. We just call it a different name, and we try to teach the kids about who the Huguenots were and the importance of loving Christ even to death, like many of the Huguenots did, and spreading the gospel even to death. And we talk about the reformers, and ultimately about Jesus and his glory, and how all of these things point to Christ and his glory, how all of the reformers do, and different historical elements, and the 5 solas of the Reformation. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's so many solid children's books out there. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can link them. I think that would be helpful. And we love to go through a lot of those, or even just portions.
Reformation ABCs.
Yes, yeah. Yep. And just even portions of a lot of other books that we have, or, going through the John Calvin page, or going through the Martin Luther page, or whatever. Yep. And I think that's always so fun to just expose the children and teach them. It's such a great time of year to teach them and disciple your kids through just the holiday that's coming up.
Amen. And it's so important what certain things that you mark will make an impact on your family culture.
Yes.
So if you have this day to, explicitly call out the importance of the Reformation and teach your children why you believe the Protestant Reformation was important and biblical and God glorifying, and why we should honor these wonderful teachers of God's word who have gone before us, and all of the amazing grace that the Lord worked during that time period and how that's impacted us today, that's going to make an impact with them. Certain traditions, right? We have pulled up some videos of showing them what it's like in Geneva, Switzerland, or Ligonier has a really cool video about the Protestant Reformation, a 3-4 minute video. The Calvinist movie has a lot of good stuff that you could show the kids a clip from, etc. So just some ideas there of how to mark the day. We sing a mighty fortress is our God, the battle cry of the Reformation, and certainly mark the day. So we absolutely love Reformation Day, and of course that falls on October 31st, which the vast majority of people in America are marking that day as Halloween. Now notice how I'm pronouncing that Halloween, not Halloween, which I'm not gonna get upset if
I think
people...
I still pronounce it Halloween.
Well, yeah, it's so natural because that is how it's kind of been pronounced in American society. But if you look at the spelling, it's Hallow, and that of course comes from the word hallow, which in the Lord's Prayer, our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. It's about holy be your name, magnified be your name, sanctified be your name. And that of course comes from, once again, like we said before, All Saints Day is All Hallows Day, or then the day before is All Hallows Eve, and that's where Halloween came from. So we have this, of course. Halloween is a lot of times marked by like death and fear and a lot of scary things and whatnot. And I want to read this. There's my favorite all-time article. Our favorite all-time article on Halloween is from American Vision, and Gary DeMar kind of writes a foreword on it, and then he posts a James Jordan article called Concerning Halloween. But at the top, DeMar includes a Jerry Boyer quote, and I want to read this here because it's extremely important, and it'll spur on our conversation. So Jerry Boyer says, "Fear over Halloween reverses the gains of early Christianity and its victory over the fear of those tiny little tyrant pagan gods. They fled from the sign of the cross. Now we cower, or worse, attack the liberty of those who do not cower. So very, very, very tired of the whole Christian killjoy thing. The Bible is not a book of don'ts. It's a book of do's with a few don'ts mixed in because some kinds of behavior interfere with living a full life. Want to cower in fear? Your choice. Don't goad us into it. Halloween is a Christian holiday, All Hallows Eve, designed to mock the powers of darkness and demonstrate that we don't fear them. I plan to live in the true spirit of Halloween, which is not fear kids in masks or to fear people who fear kids in masks." The end. The end of the quote. So that quote is saying that, wait a second, Halloween is a Christian holiday? Where did all this stuff come from about the scary stuff and the ghosts and the goblins and the masks? And it actually came from Christians mocking the powers of darkness and showing, okay, Satan is making one last push before All Saints Day, and he's trying to overcome the powers of darkness, and Christ is so much stronger than the devil. He's so much stronger than demons. He flees. If you read the Gospels, you see the demons, you see the devil afraid of Christ.
Yes.
They're cowering in fear.
Yes, asking permission.
Permission from Jesus. And we don't have to be afraid of these things. It was originally created by Christians to mock the powers of darkness. And then let me just read this James Jordan quote, then we'll talk more about our personal views and how we balance certain things, because it's kind of become something even different than what I just mentioned in today's society, which we'll get to. But James Jordan says, Halloween, not Halloween, is simply a contraction of All Hallows Eve. The word hallow means saint in that hallow is just an alternative form of the word for holy, hallowed be thy name. All Saints' Day is November 1st. It is the celebration of the victory of the saints in union with Christ. Okay, this is my comment here. Once again, that's what All Saints' Day is. It's the celebration of the victory of the saints in union with Christ. And then Jordan keeps going. The observance of various celebrations of All Saints arose in the late 300s, and these were united and fixed on November 1st in the late 700s. The origin of All Saints' Day and All Saints' Eve in Mediterranean Christianity had nothing to do with Celtic Druidism or the church's fight against Druidism, assuming there even was any such thing as Druidism, which is actually a myth concocted in the 19th century by neo-pagans. So basically what he's saying at the end there, there's all these different, what were the origins of it? And its origins are demonic, and it's Satan's holiday and all this. I would disagree with its origins being demonic based on historical sources that I've seen. You may have seen something different, but basically what we know for sure is that Christians started marking this as a way to mock the enemy. And it's not something, once again, that we have to be scared of. Now, let's move to modern day American Halloween and what it is. And it has lost any type of Christian semblance, as you don't see a lot of Christians who even know what I said.
Oh, completely.
Most Christians don't even recognize that, they don't even know anything of what I just said about All Saints' Day and about mocking the powers of darkness. What it has become in many ways is a way to celebrate evil, a way to celebrate violence. We walk through our neighborhood.
Oh my.
And there's,
it's a lot of crazy people out there.
Yeah, there's front yard displays of arms that are cut off and legs and hands and blood everywhere.
Crazy witches,
graphic violence,
and those, horror babies and cribs, and it's just very disturbing.
Those horror babies, and the kids look, and we don't want to teach our kids, that they have to be afraid of these things. We obviously want to teach them that these babies, they aren't real. These dolls aren't real. These witches aren't real, etc. But they are very disturbing images to see, and a lot of it is, people who don't love Christ are setting up these things because they just love the thrill, or they actually do love the darkness. Maybe they actually are a real witch, or by that I mean they're trying to set themselves up as someone who has some type of supernatural demonic power to cast spells on people. There's actually, obviously there's real people like that.
Yeah, and I mean, are they like Satanists, or like the people who are actually worshiping Satan? I do think that is like their main day of the year. I mean, I think that they are extra celebrating this from their end and their quote religion of being Satan lovers or whatever. So yeah, there are real witches. That yes. It is a real thing.
Right, exactly. So, but then once again, so just that's certainly true. There are people who are committed to darkness and evil and violence and demonism who utilize Halloween. But once again, what we should not be doing as Christians who understand that Jesus is more powerful than Satan, we should never be retreating and being scared of demons and being scared of anything. We should never be. What did Jesus say? Do not fear those who can kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. And certainly do not fear demons. When Jesus laughs at them, Psalm 2, he sits in the heavens and he laughs. He mocks the demons. The demons are completely scared of him. So as Christians, we don't want to be, thinking that this is something that we completely have to run away from just because some people do some, things that are a little over the top. Now, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think it's like you don't want to fully shield your kids from seeing it and exposing them whatsoever. I think that
to age appropriate levels.
Of course, yes, our youngest, please look away. This is literal
they don't need
craziness.
To see graphic violence and all that crazy
but
stuff.
I also think that it's so great to teach them about what you just said and to show them how powerful Christ
Yes.
is, and that there aren't reasons to fear. And and just I just remember even a couple years ago, just pulling up to a house and just sitting in front of the house and talking to the
Yes.
kids. It was a very strange yard. Oh, a witch with the what are those things called? Like
The broom, is that what you're talking about?
no, like there was
The little pots
the
that has
pot
the smoke
thing.
coming out.
So I mean, just like showing all
Right,
the different things, and
Yeah, it had skeletons in it.
Yes,
It had little
yes.
gravestones and
Yes.
all the different, a bunch of different, modern American Halloween symbols.
yes,
It had.
and I think it's just good to actually
We
just
stopped in front of the house,
actually-
and what did we do?
And we taught them about
Yes.
it. We looked at, showed them and pointed to each of the things in the yard and talked through that. And I just think it's great to keep doing that to our kids and to, to hopefully your kids, whoever's listening. But I just think that that's very important because then I think it's the opposite is just fully,
It's just fundamentalism,
Yes.
avoidance,
fully,
not teaching their minds.
Yes, exactly.
But just teaching them, this symbol bad, don't look, we don't do. And then it's like, okay, well, why? And then they grow up, and that's how so many fundamentalists have grown up, and they don't know how to think through these things biblically. Okay, why do people do this? Why do they put the orange pumpkin in their yard, which we have an orange pumpkin and we carved it to the glory of God and we put a face on it, whatever. But why do people do that? Why do people put skeletons there? Why do they put cobwebs and spiders and skeleton, whatever it is? Actually talking to your kids about these things and showing them so that they know how to think through. This goes into gospel culture study, which is going to be one of our future podcasts. That's very similar. Teaching your kids how to think through these things. But if you think about the multiple elements of Halloween, it's not monolithic, meaning it's not just, this is a lot of crazy violent things happen and demons and people dressed up who want to go out and smash people's pumpkins and hurt children and put on spells and steal stuff. It's not all that any more than if you just said the word Christmas. That's just all about this Santa. Whoops, I almost said Satan. Santa, Satan.
Oh, no.
Similar letters, right? Is Christmas just all about this guy in the red suit with the big beard and these deer who fly and they go down chimneys and eat cookies? Why do? Of course, there's multiple things that a person can think of when you hear the word Christmas. You can think of the mall and all the green. What's
Pine.
the stuff? All the
pine.
green
Yes.
pine and all the
ornaments
Christmas, the
and
lights.
the, cinnamon.
Yeah.
And yes.
Yep. The
all
smells. You can think of
foods
that
and
when you
yes.
think of Christmas, or you can think of Christmas Eve worship service where you light the candles, or time around your tree, or you can think of Jesus coming to this earth. There's a lot of different things that you can associate with it. So Halloween is very similar. It's not only those skeletons. If you drive down our neighborhood, what percentage of the houses have like the over the top crazy, like violent or really weird type stuff? What percent?
I mean, I would say maybe 10 to 20%.
Yeah, I was even gonna say 5%.
Oh man,
but I mean,
I'm really bad on that.
Well, yeah,
percentages.
but it's not a lot, is what we're trying to say. So for most people, when most people think of Halloween, I think they think of just, my kid is gonna dress up as Spider-Man, and he's gonna go and knock and smile at the door and say "tweet good tweet," and he's gonna get his little Kit Kat bar and then go to sleep at 7:30.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people think of it as an evening to, be outside and connect with the neighbors.
Well, yeah, that was my next point. Exactly.
Yeah, I think that there's just multiple.
Yes.
I think that take a sample size. I mean, there's a multiple different thoughts that people have. I'm sure of the evening or the day.
It can depend on your geographic area too. Like
Yes.
where are you? Well, there's another element to it that we didn't talk about. More of like the college party scene element.
Yes.
Which is like a night to go crazy and party and sexualized costumes and all that. How different is that than what might go on at an outer suburb neighborhood that has a lot of young kids in it, where almost every house has kids who are 7 and under. That neighborhood, it's probably just going to be people in a princess costume and I'm a baseball player, whatever it is, and you're just walking around the neighborhood and all the neighbors are talking and they're enjoying conversation, and there's lots of lights and laughing and whatever. So it depends on where you are and what the context is. And then if we move to how you can use it for the glory of God, no matter what context you're in, Desiring God has some wonderful articles on Halloween here. And David Mathis specifically, I think he wrote an article called Christians, This Is Our Night, which is, once again, we are post-millennialists. I don't believe David Mathis is, but maybe one day he will be. But we believe that Christ is victorious and that light overcomes the darkness, and that Jesus wins and he loves to save people.
Yes.
And that the gospel of grace, and that we can use any opportunity that we have to try to build a relationship with someone and speak the good news to them that God might save them. So what other day of the year, that David Mathis rightly points out, do your neighbors come to your door?
Exactly.
Many people who will never even talk to you. They'll go and drive into their garage. They'll shut their door, their garage door right behind them. They won't even wave to you or say hi throughout the whole rest of the year. But yet this one night, they are out and about, walking around. They're coming to your door. And you have an opportunity to either shut off all your lights and cower and be scared and, teach your whole family that we need to be extremely nervous because the demons are going to get us and Satan's going to get us. Or you can teach them, we can be welcoming. We can turn on our lights. We can smile. We can give the best food, and we can set up drinks in our yard, and we can use it as an opportunity to get to know our neighbors, to try to love them, show them the love of Jesus, and speak to them any type of good news that we could speak. You could hand out gospel tracts with your with the other stuff that you're handing out, and try to use it to be a light. Amen. And to be an encouragement, and to be a light once again in the midst of a culture or neighborhood that might have a lot of darkness and a lot of struggle and a lot of people who are blinded to the truths of the joys of Christ. And they look at this night and they want this thrill of whatever it is with being scared, and we know what it is to fear God, and only by his grace. So that's how we've tried to think through this. And what we do is we open up our garage, we turn on our garage light, we set up a table. One year we passed out drinks, and then we try to get some really good treats. We're not big. We're more healthy people, so we try to do a lot of candy. So this year we got some
fruit strips.
Yeah, some healthy fruit strips and whatnot. And then we try to meet our neighbors, talk to anyone who wants to talk, and strike up conversations and get to know folks and be friendly and kind, and speak the gospel if we have an opportunity, if it comes up.
And we'll go to a few houses with our kids.
Correct.
I mean, our kids will dress up.
Yeah. What have they been in past years? One of our daughters last year, I think it was it the last 2 years, was a mom,
yes,
right? With she wore the baby wrap and put one of the dollies.
Or a baby.
in
she
there.
had her leggings on, a top knot. I mean, we're more of like the minimalist Halloween.
Yeah, we don't spend a lot of money.
No, we're not going to be going out and buying anything. But the boys have been golfers or baseball players or tennis players or what else?
Folks who carry guns, soldiers, or whatever it is. So, and this, I don't know what they'll be this year. Well, maybe some, maybe golfers or baseball players, tennis players, whatever it is, football players, hockey players, soccer.
Every sport. Lacrosse.
Lacrosse. Yeah, maybe water polo players. So in summary here, as we bring this home, we just want to say, if you are a Christian, we encourage you to celebrate Reformation Day. and to highlight to your children and those around you the importance of the Protestant Reformation and glorify Christ in how you talk about the reformers and historical events and how that impacts our current society. And regarding Halloween, you're not obligated to participate in this in the American elements of this holiday by any means whatsoever. So if you want to not participate in it, then don't participate in it to the glory of God. But what you shouldn't do is don't teach your kids that they should be afraid of Satan. Don't teach them that they should be afraid of demons. Yes, they should be watchful for the devil. He prowls around like a roaring lion seeking someone to devour. They should have a healthy respect that Satan is real and that he deceives and he tricks and he wants to harm God's people. But these other types of things, we don't have to be afraid of them because Jesus is 1,000 times more powerful. So let's not teach our children to be afraid. Let's teach our children that Jesus loves to save people, that he loves to open up people's eyes, that he loves when Christians reach out in whatever way. Some Christians are going to choose to do that on a night like October 31st. And hopefully we're doing it, all the days of our lives in whatever unique ways we think the Lord has called us to. So you don't have to do exactly what we do, but we do encourage you to think about these things with intentionality and to think about Christ reaching out and Christ being more powerful than the darkness, the light being more powerful than the darkness, and to remember that the very name Halloween comes from the fact that it's the eve of All Saints' Day, and that it was originally its original design was to show that to mock the powers of darkness. Because if you are a Christian, you are a saint, and we have victory in union with Christ. Praise God. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Gospel Liberty Podcast.